Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss about a colloidal solution which is called as emulsion. In our day-to-day life we come across a different type of emulsions like milk, butter, moisturizers, mayonnaise, etc. So what is an emulsion? An emulsion is a colloidal mixture of two or more liquids that normally do not mix. So let us discuss more about emulsion in this video. So emulsion can be defined as the emulsion or the colloidal solution in which both the dispersed phase and the dispersed medium are the liquids. We have already discussed about the terms dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. So if both are the liquids, then it is called as emulsion. So, the liquid-liquid colloidal solution are called as emulsion. That is the very simplest definition for emulsion. The liquid-liquid colloidal solution are called as emulsion. Let us take case of oil and water. Water and oil both are liquid in nature, and when it get mixed up, definitely they are immiscible because they will not get mixed as the other liquids like water and alcohol mixes. So these are actually immiscible. You can see when the oil and the water is mixed, the two layers are formed because these are immiscible. So here the example is the milk. The case of milk where the liquid fat and the water are both are in liquid and they get mixed up, and this is called as emulsion. So, if a mixture of two immiscible or partially miscible liquid is shaken, a course of dispersion of one liquid into another is obtained, which is called as emulsion. So, generally, these are of two types, that is, oil in water emulsion and water in oil emulsion. That means, depending upon the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium, that is, oil phase dispersed in water, that is the case oil in water emulsion, that is also represented O/W, that shows that oil in water. It means that oil is the dispersion phase here and water is the dispersion medium. That means oil is present in small quantity and the water is present in the large quantity. So oil in water, that is one type of emulsion. We can say oil phase dispersed in water. It means that in this case the water is present to a larger extent. That means the dispersion medium is water here, but here the dispersion medium is oil. So water in oil means that is W/O. It means that water in oil means water is the dispersion phase, oil is the dispersion medium. That means in such case of emulsion, oil is present in the larger quantity and the water is present in the small quantity. So when we take the example of this, it will be more clear. That is, in the case of milk, we know that the fat content, that is the oil content, is lesser. So it comes in the category that is oil in water emulsion, that is O/W emulsion. It is a oil in water emulsion. But the case of butter, in the case of butter, we know that the water content is lesser. That is shown here. The water content is lesser here. Oil content is greater here. So that is what we call it as water in oil. So that is an example here. Butter and the cream is an example of water in oil emulsion, where water phase is dispersed in oil. So two type of emulsions we have discussed here, oil in water emulsion and water in oil emulsion. Now how we can prepare the emulsion? That is by vigorous shaking, and it can also be prepared by in the colloidal mill. So when we shake vigorously the two liquids, as these are immiscible or partially miscible, so a course of dispersion of one liquid in the other is obtained. That is by the shaking of it. So this is what the preparation of emulsion. Now the properties of emulsion, because these are immiscible or we can say partially miscible, and they are generally unstable because they do not mix well. So we can say that they are generally unstable because they will not completely get mixed up. And to stabilize it, and emulsifying agents are added. So let us discuss what is this emulsifying agents. Emulsifying agents or the emulsifiers. To stabilize the emulsion, a small quantity of certain substances that is other than the dispersion phase and the dispersion medium. Some substance must be added so that the emulsion will be quite stable. So that is what we use the term emulsifier or emulsifying agents to these substances. So what is emulsifying agent? That are the substances which is added during the preparation of the emulsion to stabilize the emulsion is called as emulsifying agent or the emulsifier, and this process is called as emulsification. It is very important definition in exam. It is asked what is emulsifier or what is emulsification. It can be explained through this diagram. As we know that the emulsion of oil in water, that is quite unstable. Why? Because they separate it into two layers. You can see the oil and water, it gets separated into two layers on standing. So after shaking, when you keep it for some time, what we can see that two separate layers are formed. So for stabilizing this emulsion, an emulsifier is to be added. So after emulsification, what you can see now, the oil particles are in the water particles. Now it forms a stable emulsion. So a third component which is added here other than the dispersion phase and the dispersion medium, because here the dispersion phase is the oil and the dispersion medium is the water, because when you check here which is in the smaller quantity, that is the oil, and which one is the larger quantity one, here it is taken water, that is oil in water emulsion, which is unstable because it forms a two separate layers on standing. So in order to make it stable, the certain substance which is added, which is called as emulsifying agent or the emulsifier. Now you can see after adding this substance, now it become a quite stable. Now you can see the particles of oil in the water in the stable form. So this is what called as emulsification. Now the question arises, how the emulsifier works. So we can write the role of emulsifier here. It reduces the tension between the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium by forming an interfacial film between them. So this is what are called as the role of emulsifying agent. So here these all definitions are important. What is emulsifier, what is emulsification, and what is the role of emulsifying agent. So this is all actually very important for the exam. Now let's discuss about the emulsifying agent examples. Like example of emulsifying agent for oil in water emulsion. These are proteins, gums, natural and the synthetic soaps, etc. can be used as emulsifying agent for the oil in water emulsions. And the example of emulsifying agent for water in oil emulsions are, that is heavy metal salts of fatty acid, long chain alcohols, lamp black, etc. So these are the examples of emulsifying agent. It is also important in the exam, it may be asked that which is the example of emulsifying agent for oil in water and for the water in oil emulsion. So go through this some examples also. So we already defined some important properties of emulsions, that is they are immiscible, generally unstable because do not mix well, and how it gets stable by emulsifying agent. So to stabilize it, we'll be adding emulsifying agent. Now the other properties are here, that is they also show Brownian moment and the Tyndall effect, because these are the properties shown by the colloidal solution. Since the emulsion is an colloidal solution, so it shows the Brownian moment and the Tyndall effect. And the emulsions can be broken down into the constituent liquid by heating, freezing, and by the centrifugation method. So this process is called as demulsification. That is, a emulsion can be broken down in the constituent liquid. That is, by the different method, this process is called as demulsification. So here we have discussed different properties, preparations, and the types of emulsion in this video. So this is all about this video. Have a nice day.